Yeah, good morning. There's a big thing about Feltham this morning. Feltham remand prison and prison for young offenders. Let me tell you about years ago, Ashford remand prison that I was in as a kid, as a young offender. Years ago, remand prison, and there was a big concern about it because there was kids there from 8, 10, 11, up to about 12 on the wing I was on, yeah. But on the big prison, on the other side of it, there was guys in there 15, 16, 18 years of age, yeah. But us young remand prisoners who was maybe waiting to go up to approved schools and all that, keep you in prison at that age, yeah. Um, There, you're in prison for maybe 4 to 8 weeks, banged up 14 and a half hours a day, um, given a little bit of exercise, 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day visits, or maybe if you're lucky, a day, yeah? But I mean, unbelievable what they should do to us kids. I remember, I've spoken about it before, and John Massey has spoken about it before. John Massey is the longest serving prisoner in England ever. Um, he beats Brunson. He beats a lot, mate. He's proper. This man has got a good stories. He done it with Woodall, Doug Woodall. Doug Woodall, fantastic interviewer, mate. Anyway, so in remand, as a young kid, a lot of kids are waiting to go up to approved schools. I'm waiting for probation. I'm the only young kid anyway, and I think, well, I'll get probation or approved school, yeah. But anyway, cut a long story short. So when you're in there, the worst thing about in my days in Ashford remand, uh, screws used to walk about at night time with slippers on. John Massey said it, and I said it a long time ago. They used to walk about with slippers on at night time. They also had the keys to the door, and and a lot of things used to go on in there. I mean, you got to remember these prison officers are not, in them days, they wasn't, you know, prison officers as such. There was like a lot of them was very sexual people that would take advantage of young kids and get young kids to do things to them, sexual things to them for favours and all that, and if they didn't, they was in trouble. So you can imagine what you'd go through at night time. You don't hear the screws, but you can hear the doors being unlocked, yeah? And also you might hear a kid murmuring, a little bit of screaming a bit here and there, and everyone knows in there what's going on. And so you get unlocked in the morning, and it's pandemonium. You know what I mean? Everybody's looking at everybody who was the one that was being sexually abused, and they used to love it, mate. It's what they used to do. And to be in there for 4 to 8 weeks on remand, young kids that are very got so much testosterone in their body that want to get out and do things, and then they're banging them up for 8 to 14, 8 to 4 to 8 to 12 weeks. It doesn't sound long, but when you're banged up in them conditions, where you got a metal piss pot, and you've got nothing in your cell really, and you've got horsehair mattresses. It's not a nice environment, and not only is it a nice environment, but you've got these screws running around, sexually abusing you and bashing you up. It's not a good thing. And when I was in Ashford remand, when you go into the canteen, the big canteen, you dine out, yeah. You got all the young boys one side, you got the big ones the other side, yeah. But in them places, in that time, used to have metal knife and forks. So the knife would be about an inch, the blade would be about an inch, you got and then the handle, you had the knife and you had the fork and you had the spoon, yeah? It's crazy, isn't it? And that was in them days, in kids' days, and today it's plastic. In them days it was metal, and kids are a bit more over the top as far as stabbing someone. Kids would do it 24/7, whereas grown-ups do think about it a little bit, yeah? but kids would just do it, bang, bang, bang. And I used to see more people in there get stabbed in there than enough, you know. I was one of those kids that used to get bashed up. Used to get bashed up by the screws quite a lot. I was always down the block. The block was more or less the same place as where we lived. The block we lived in, and you know, it was like not a good place, mate. It's not a good place to be. Later on in my life, I moved out of there, and obviously I went to court, and I got acquitted of the offence that I was nicked for. So later on, I'll get nicked again, and I'll go to Ashford remand prison again, but this time I'll go on the big side of it, yeah. And mate, it was mad. It was mad, you know. I mean, to survive in them places, and don't forget, it didn't really change as far as these screws had the keys to the door, and they was to walk around night times with slippers. It don't seem possible that these men, supposed to be men, that walking about undoing young kids' doors and going in there and sexually abusing them, getting them to do things to them, you know, that, you know, just for favours. You do this, you get that. You do this, you get that, and that's what it was like in there. And you know, when I hear about this ball store, this Ashford remand prison and Feltham's and all that, you know, it brings back memories to me of what they used to be like and what they used to do. And people say, yeah, but you go back to prison, but we're kids. We're kids, we go back, you know what I mean? We do things, don't think, we go do things, you know. And I used to be involved with so many fights, lots of fights, you know. And I did say it before, when I was in there, there was a PTI called Hooper's Troopers, and he was, I think it was Hooper or Cooper, he was a PTI, and he was a bad man, mate. He was a bad man that used to get kids bunny hopped him round down the landings, and he was just a bad man, mate. He used to bash kids up all the time. He used to hit you with things you wouldn't think that someone could hit you with, and he used to bash you across the head and bash you up. You know, so it come to a stage. I've got to say it. There was this load of Jamaican boys that got remanded. There was about 10, 15 of them, and there was a little firm. I mean, no one really argued with them. They was a little firm, and believe it or not, them days 16 to 18, and these were big kids, mate. These weren't little babies. They were big boys, and this Cooper Troop, or what his name was, he tried to bully this little firm, and it kicked off. And I believe it was a white kid, I'm not quite sure, that smashed him across the table with a metal tray. The metal tray is where you get your food on. You got one big compartment where you have your dinner. You got another one where your soup goes, and another one where your pudding goes. Yeah. So you know, they smashed him to death with his trays everywhere on his body. Smashed all his legs, everything. You know, and after that. Obviously, so they realised that something's got to be done with Ashford remand prison, because they were just taking too many liberties at schools. You know, I mean, they were giving you clothes, yeah, to wear that you wouldn't even put on a dog. You know, they'd give you pants that come down to your knees and were full of mess, you know, where people have messed themselves, and these screws just put them in the washing machine, took them out, and they haven't been washed properly, and you're the one who's got to wear them. So you see a lot of these kids, wear their pants inside out, yeah, because of the mess on the inside where people have had them and pooed themselves, where they've gone to the toilet. You got to remember, yeah, in them days, when you went to the toilet, I'll put something on my thumbnail, yeah? I'm going to put a cell in there, but it's the guys on patches. Let me explain what patches are. Patches are when you escape, yeah? when you escape, they give you the patches, a yellow patch, yellow stripe, and all that on it. Yeah, but this is a patchy cell. It looks a bit more. Different to some of the padded cells I've seen. Yeah, not padded for someone who escapes. Yeah, padded cells. For escapees. Yeah. Everything in that cell, when you look at it, gets put out at night time. Everything barring the bed. Everything else in there gets put out outside the guy's cell. In the morning, that light you see turns red. That light's on all day, and at night time it turns red. So that light's on you 24/7. But that's a cell, similar to a cell that you could see in Ashford remand prison. Yeah, you can see the plastic piss pot under the corner unit, or under the chair or whatever. But usually, when I was in Ashford remand as a young kid, the piss pot then was aluminium with an aluminium lid. Yeah. Now it's all changed. There's no such a thing as a piss pot now. It's all toilets, sinks, everything in your cell. But in my times, it wasn't like that. When I first went away, it was all aluminium piss pot with a lid. Yeah. Then it became a plastic piss pot and all that. So you can imagine what you go through in there. There is a lot of it. You can imagine. You've got to learn in prison. You've got to learn when to hold yourself. You've got to hold yourself to go to the toilet, because if you don't, if you wind up filling your pot up and all this and and it stinks in your cell, and you're trying to wipe your arse with this paper, which is grease-proof paper, and it goes on your back, and so everybody's, trying to get out, trying to do it. And them days, when on my times, you had one toilet. You have one toilet that you go and you can poo in, yeah? And now you got loads of toilets. Yeah? But in my times, you have one toilet. I'm on about in the recess, yeah? You have one toilet with the door half cut open, that opens up outwards, it pulls outwards. I can't remember if it pulls out or pulls in, yeah? But they have one toilet in Ashford remand. There might be people that are watching this that I'm putting on you that remember Ashford remand prison. There isn't many who remember my times in the 60s, yeah? How old was I? 13, 12, 13. So, 3, 64, you know what I mean? So it's a long time ago, you know what I mean? So there ain't many people that are alive today, that can back me up. Maybe John Massey, he's one that can back me up on everything I'm saying. John Massey has more like been to Ashford remand. There's a load been to Ashford remand prison, but are dead now. There isn't many. Maybe you're going to get people say, yeah, I remember it, but they don't remember it like my times. You march everywhere, and the screws were bad, mate. Were bad. The light in the cell. I don't know if anybody remembers, but outside your cell in my times, you used to have an alcove, yeah? Alcove by the door to the right. That alcove used to put a candle in there, yeah? They used to put a candle in there and light a candle. And that was your light for your cell, a candle. But that phased out, They started to put lights in, but at my times, it was a candle. It don't seem possible, but you look at these cells, the old cells in Wandsworth, the Scrubs, the Ville, Brixton, all these old cells, you'll see it. Even if they're modern cells now, you still the outside, you'll see maybe an arch, yeah, that's been bricked in. That used to be where they used to put the candle in there. It's mad, isn't it? You know what I mean? Going back all them days, and and the monstrosities that the screws used to do, bash up kids with sticks, bash up kids with their truncheons. I'm on about really bash them up, and you hear them go in the cell at night time and bash someone to death, and someone screaming and shouting. and then you hear them going in someone's cell, where you don't hear much noise, but moaning and groaning, because that screw is sexually abusing that kid. It's terrible, mate. It's terrible. It goes on. It used to go on in my time 24/7. It goes on, mate. You know, um, it goes on because we've all seen that prison officer having sex with a guy. That I mean, no one's going to really. I can't make out why they took a picture of that. Why they didn't keep that quiet. You know, because there's loads of people that love that. You know, I done a podcast years ago with my mate Christian Morgan in my place in Harrow, yeah, and I was talking to two girls, yeah, and they was telling us about screws, not women's screws, men's screws, that were getting hold of the women in Bronzefield or some other prisons. It was all different prisons in there that were getting hold of them and sexually abusing them. You know, it goes on as I'm speaking to you now. It goes on. It's a lot different. It's a lot different now because the screws don't have keys to the cells and don't walk about with slippers on. You know, they might walk about with slippers on, but they ain't got keys. The keys are at the gatehouse, right? The keys. They're not allowed keys to go in cells, you know, just in case they get kidnapped and whatever. So the keys are in the gatehouse. Security in the gatehouse, they're in charge of the keys. Anything happens in the cell, they get called across and they have to open the doors. You know, so it isn't, you know, so, you know, that to do it in the daytime, go into cells and have sex and all this, that and the other, but they do it. Who was going to complain about having sex with a young prison officer? You know, I mean, I'm about female prison officer, you know what I mean? But obviously, a lot goes on in the male prisons with screws. You've got screws in there that, actually, in my time, in remand in Ashford, a lot of these screws were old Matlow screws. Well, Matlow screws are ex-Navy, all ex-Navy, and believe it or not, most of the ex-Navy Matlows are all gay. They're gay because they're on the water for so long, they turn gay. So they're the ones that come into the prison, all ex this, ex that, all military. And, you know, when you talk to them, don't like talking to them, but when they talk to you, your number, your name and everything like that, you know, and they say to you, well, yeah, I'm ex-military, mate, you know what I mean? I'm an ex this and ex that, you know, and you think, fuck me, he's a Matlow, mate, ex-Navy, he's gay as they come, you know, even though they don't talk gay, they talk like big time Charlie Potatoes is, but believe me, they're gay as anything. And they're the ones walking around the prison at Ashford Remand Prison years ago when I was there in the 60s, sexually abusing young kids. You know, it's terrible, mate. It's terrible. It's terrible. It goes on, but it goes on. You know, it happens. It happens, mate. Anyway, bang bang mail. You know, it's just a shame that all them things happened. You know, and you know, in Ashford, in my prison, kids were kept in there for 8 to 12, even sometimes 16 weeks. It don't sound long, but it is long with conditions they had to live in, yeah? And they're young kids that really shouldn't be banged up like that. They should be put out on the street, really, or such, if they're that bad, you know. The only guy that I know is that bad that they put in a prison, a male prison, big prison, was a geezer called Alan Pountney, which I've already talked about Alan Pountney, about, you know, what happened with him. He got into a window, he was tiny, his dad put him up, they were burglars, and he bashed an old woman up and killed her. Alan Pountney was a dangerous man. They couldn't control, so they put him into a boys' YP, Aylesbury YP, and he stabbed so many people And in the end, they shipped him out, made him up, and sent him to places like Parkhurst, where the Crays, Ronnie and Reggie Cray, abused him, and he also went to Broadmoor. So you can imagine what happened there. Ronnie Cray abused him in Broadmoor, Reggie Cray abused him in Parkhurst. You know, it's a shame. I see the kid in the scrubs, and I went into the D-wing, see his cell. The cell is all shrined up, full of shrine of the Crays. Pictures here, pictures there, letters here, letters there, you know, and I love you and all that crap. And you know, and it just goes to show you that, you know, not only do they bang these people up. He was doing HMP at that time. Obviously, then he got to a life sentence. He's been away for, I don't know, 25, maybe 28 years. You know, fucking hell, mate. You know, and they wonder why these kids go off their nut. You know what I mean? Banging him up for 28 years. This kid. You know what I mean? But that's what they do. That's what they do. And then now they're saying that they want to release, what is it, 45% of your sentence now. You'll be released. You got certain people on YouTube. They've got certain channels on YouTube talking absolute crap, right? Saying when you're sentenced to 12 years, you should do 12 years. 8 years, you should do 8 years. Why do they sentence you to that? You know, these people ain't got a clue, mate. And he's saying, yeah, but prisons are too packed, you know, and this, that, and the other. Well, the reason prisons are too packed is because of sentences. And not only because of the sentences, but imagine if he's doing what you want him to do, was sent him to prison for the sentence that you was given. You know, you're entitled. When that judge sentences you to a sentence, he knows that half of that, or 3/4 of that, is going to be took away. That's why he gives you that sentence. He doesn't give you a 6-year sentence not knowing that it's going to be cut to a 4-year sentence. He knows that, the judge. So it just sounds good. But you've got this stupid man on YouTube and his channel, nice guy, goes to all the meetings, goes to all the big things, talking and all that crap, saying that. And I couldn't believe when he said that about people, you know, if a judge gives you 10 years, you should do 10 years. And if a judge gives you a life sentence, you should do a life sentence. That means prisons would burst at the walls. No one will be getting out. He talks absolute crap. I mean, he's talking about prisons overcrowded, you know. It's madness, you know. They don't think when they talk, you know what I mean? It does gives you a little bit of, you know, you think, so what's this geezer talking about? He don't know what he's talking about. He ain't got a clue what he's talking about, you know what I mean? The judge gives you that sentence because he knows you do half or you do 3/4. Stop talking stupid, mate, and look at it as it is. Bang, bang, roll, nice one.